In this video, I'm going to go over the very basics of how to move the camera around so you can get the composition you want, and then just a very simple render. So a simple scene has three objects and a camera, and I'll select the camera in the outliner, so that's where the camera is there. And you can kind of see, like, it's like at this point it's pointing down, and the rectangle that's visible here is framing the shot. So how can we see what the camera sees? Well, an easy way is to go over to the right here and click on this little camera icon, and that's what the camera sees, and it's not very wonderful, is it? And a shortcut to get to see what the camera sees is to hit the letter 0 on your numpad. So it's the 0 of the numpad. So if I hit the 0 on the numpad, it goes to what the camera sees. Now, if you do not have a numpad on your keyboard, such like if you're using a laptop, for example, you can always go to Edit, Preferences, and have Emulate Numpad enabled. So if you do not have a numpad, you're using a laptop, Edit, Preferences, and Emulate Numpad should be enabled. Alrighty. Okay, so this is what the camera sees, and it's not great. So the camera is an object, so I can select it, and yes, I could move it, along these axes, and then, let's see what that looks like. Well, that's a little bit better, but I want it out more, and then I want it rotated up. And so, of course, you can see that this would be an exercise in misery, right? So, like, okay, let's see what that looks like. So this, within this rectangle, is what the render would look like, and that's not good. All right, so anyway, let me click out of this. And remember, you can use numpad 0, or you could use this little camera icon to toggle back and forth between what the render will look like and what the whole scene looks like. Okay, so how can I easily get a nice composition? Okay, so one thing you can do is just using your mouse and buttons. Let's say this is not the most wonderful composition in the world, but let's say I like that, or something close to that. Ignore the camera. All right, and now if you do Option Command 0 on the Mac, or Alt Control 0 on a PC, what it does is that view that I chose, the camera will jump to it. So let me demonstrate that again. So just let me do something completely different here. It's like, oh no, I like this. This is the composition. This is it. I love this. So Option Command 0 or Alt Control 0, and the camera will, agree with you. The camera will say, okay, if that's the shot you want, I'm moving there. Now this isn't great, because I don't want the cylinder cut off and the cone is too close to the edge, and et cetera, et cetera. So what the heck can we do here? I could bail out of this, and I could move the camera and manually like I was doing before, but there's a much easier way. So open the sidebar, and you open the sidebar, remember, by clicking this little teeny tiny arrow to the right of the gizmo. Click on the View tab and make sure that this View drop-down menu is open, and then enable Lock Camera to View. Mine was already enabled, but typically it looks like that, right? It's disabled. So enable Lock Camera to View. Now with that enabled, I can, with the viewport, the composition framed, I can zoom out, I can pan and zoom, I can move around here, And let me see here. What do I want to do? Let's say I want to have a lot of negative space over here. So anyway, since I got this camera to view, this lock camera to view enabled, this is it. This is the render that I'm going to get. So that's cool because I can get really precise. So how do I render something for at this stage of the game? Here's what you do. You love this scene, right? You like this composition. Go to render. Whoopsies. I moved the mouse by mistake. Render image. And there she is. And for now, the best thing to do is to save the image. So you'll go to image, save as, and navigate to a known location, and then I don't know why Blender developers put the word as in there, but click save as image. Let's see. Oh, I'll give this a name. Test number 2 or whatever. Click the save button, and there she goes. And the render is saved. Now for my students doing their first project, just use the default render settings and all will be well. And that's it. That's the simple camera motion and simple finding a composition and simple rendering.